You beautiful people, how are you doing? Yes, it is the Second Look program. You know who I am. And of course, the one you really want to pay attention to is Miss Trina. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, Wayne, but it's all about you, friend.
No, and I'll deflect and say, man, no. So cold where you are, is that right, honey?
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah.
The sun is out and it looks so beautiful. And then you go outside and you're like, whoa, it's freezing. Yeah, but it's beautiful. The sun's out. It's beautiful blue skies, but 48 degrees.
Wow. Well,
Whoa, it's
let's see.
freezing.
Here we go. I heard the echo in the, isn't it odd? Because we were in the future, but that's being played to everyone. They're seeing us. We're
Yeah.
actually, they're in our past.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's cold here. I think it's 18 degrees right when I get done with this show. I get to go shovel some snow. Don't you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Uh, and there's more coming. So, welcome everyone to you. So good to see everybody. I'm using the new format that YouTube has, and it really does suck. I mean,
Oh,
I got to tell you, I don't like it at all. It's just, yeah. So, anyway, you have to learn to adjust. Isn't that right?
you do. And they're constantly changing everything.
Yes, they are. They always do that. And it's far hard to determine what is and what is not these days.
Yeah. A friend of mine, Aeon Culpa, people know him on chat. He's getting ready to start a beautiful, like a spiritual retreat in South Africa with healing modalities and seeing ancient sites. That's going to be so amazing. I think all of
Excellent.
us are going to start to come together in different ways.
Yeah. Friday's show is going to be dealing with South Africa, and
That's what you were saying.
I want to start crying every time I think about it. So we'll just move on with that. But yeah,
Mhm.
I'm right there with you. I think that, the more that we examine the truth of what we live in, what we're immersed in, as horrific as it is, it's amazing to me the human spirit will yet, in the face of all the tyranny, still hope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's why we came.
Yeah. I mean,
Bring the hope.
I think so. And it's true, Trina. I mean, it's amazing. The stories of sacrifice that you hear about individuals. Um, and so often it's that thing is that because they chose to hope, even in the face of where it's hopelessness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think literally, we're the gods of the impossible.
I think so. I think so. I had a strange experience early this morning, a real vivid, lucid dream. And how you do this, folks, just practice this. That if you'll set your alarm, if you really want to get into this, set it for every other hour and make sure the alarm goes off. And if you can get a digital one that where iPads will do it, whatever. And the next 5 minutes as you go to sleep, back to sleep, is the magic moment.
In between states.
Yes, it is. Isn't it? Is. It's so
Another thing
true.
too, upon waking in the morning, if you can just remember to like even if you hit the snooze button or if you have like five to 15 minutes, wake yourself up and then go back to sleep. And that's the same thing. It's like those little moments of the in between. They're very
It's
powerful.
true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Isn't it odd, though, as I think about this? So, in the Western culture, we have these things called alarm clocks, which means it's interrupting the natural sleep cycle to begin with. Okay. That has its own implications. But so you have the snooze button.
Mhm.
And what people do is that they'll actually go back to sleep, and actually you're expending more energy than what it is if you'd gotten up. You want to know why? Because you're in a lucid dream state of mind.
Yes. I think people that chronically hit the snooze button, I think they love that state. And that's
Yeah,
why they do it. They just keep hitting it, because I think they get more information in those 30 minutes of hitting that snooze button every 5 minutes than they get throughout the whole rest of the day.
Lynn tells me that she says, there are times when in that moment that her dreams, as she says, are so, she says, so vividly real. She'll actually go back in, she's been a nurse for decades, and will actually go back into the emergency room 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, what's wrong?
Timeline. Yeah, she's time traveling.
She says, I'm tired as all get out. I said, why? She says, because I was at work. I said, you haven't gotten up.
Yes, exactly. See, and that's me. Sometimes I come back from astrals and I feel really tired.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I've been physically in battle.
And probably you are.
I'm pretty sure sometimes I remember the battle and I remember the specific blow, and that's the part of the body that hurts. And a couple of the community have been reaching out to me with similar things, like they're waking up feeling like they've been in battle. And I'm like, well, that means you probably were.
Well, know thy enemy. I mean, if you're battling something, then that naturally implies that it is either the antithesis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a deception.
Or timeline. You're in a past.
Or you could be in the future.
It could be, but we've had so much brutal past on this planet. So with that I see awful. That as strong potential. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bloody awful.
Yeah.
We're going to get more into it in the serfdom thing. It's so I was writing to a very good friend of mine, and I was telling her this morning that I was in a place, and it's interesting because, I'm like, I write things down. I got post-it notes everywhere, and a tablet. I think, therefore I am. I was in a place where I think, and this is just me, I'm interpreting this. There's something the current order is afraid of. And when I say the order, I mean, which is even above what we're reading about the bloodlines, something I sense they're very afraid of. And as I was writing, looking at my notes, they're transmuting that fear back to us.
Yep.
We live in a time now, Trina, and you know this, where the state of confusion. Look at what happened up in Iowa last night.
No, what happened?
Well, this is the political process has started. And so we had our first state caucuses, right? They've only been doing this for over 100 years. I mean, it's not like this is something new.
Right.
The state, there was a spirit of confusion that fell upon the entire state of Iowa.
Wow.
That people were reported. In fact, Blitzer said this on CNN. He said, am I living where nothing but clowns are around here? It was, I'm looking and I'm going, this is amazing. And so we have now in the American political process, this complete debacle that is going to contaminate everything going forward. That's a state of confusion.
I was going to say, I literally, I see this. And I was told that this would happen. The people that can't anchor to their spirits and that are controlled by the matrix and they're not awake, this thing is going to drive many of them into absolute utter chaos, because they're going to be basically puppets. And right now they're blasting a lot of harmful frequencies.
They are.
A lot of people are going to just lose it. They're going to be able to be taken over very easily.
So let me ask you something my wife and I were doing we were practicing kind of our own meditation, a quiet time, bringing down the energy level to a point where, you can get into a state of meditation. And it was very interesting because we're noticing a background hum.
Yeah.
And she said to me, she says, do you hear that? She says, that's a sound you can't hear of a sound. And I said, yeah. She said, what is that?
I'm hearing sounds I've never been able to hear before too.
So is anyone out there, there's 238 people watching and plus clicks going up. Have you been hearing? The hum. It's happening, folks. Something is going, and I'm seeing it right now in the chat room. People are saying, yeah, same here. It's something's happening, folks. I'm going to give a big shout out. By the way, favor to everybody. So, big shout out to all the moderators. Big Al, wishing you warm weather as you get a load going. Yeah, people are all saying yes, folks. We got to get into this. We need.
Oh, you know what, Wayne? Before I forget, I keep hearing there's like beautiful ways with acupressure and just acupressure in the body to help relieve when these weird energies and symptoms are hitting the body. So there's like pressure points, just pressing on the third eye and hold it for a minute, stuff like that. Press on the sinuses. If your head's hurting, press on your hand right in here. If your head is feeling weird, go into the center of the palm to calm down stomach, digestion. There's places on your legs that you can put above your ankles and crush on open these rivers, because they're jamming our energy rivers.
Well, I think the first evidence.
Yeah, I'm like they're jamming the energy rivers, so we're gonna have to keep clearing them and opening them up with pressure points. I have a video on my channel on my favorite research, and this guy has like the most basic, powerful. They're like the main rivers in the body, and it just shows you like 12 different pressure points that you can apply to your body that help put you into balance. And it's science. It's beautiful.
Well, folks, get over there.
One of them is putting your hands like this. This is why we do this when we pray. This is literally opens up the rivers in the body, and it connects, and it opens up the medulla oblongata in the brain, and it starts to change the whole brain function when you have your hands like this.
Those yogis knew something.
I'm telling you, we do so many things, and we don't even know why, but we do them naturally.
Well, yeah, it's because, I think there's a lot of reasons why, but most people, let's be candid, are not in tune with their bodies.
No.
They don't. They just, and they don't care. You can go up and try to, hit certain pressure points. I know where people can, immediately begin to get that shock, and then the muscles loosen. But they just, anyway.
And the parasympathetic, like the vagus nerve in your neck, when people are stressed, they always just instantly, just naturally, you start to rub your neck. That's because of the vagus nerve complex. And if you can work that and start to just rub it and massage it, and the vagus goes right up here, and it goes down into here, you just release that, gently rub that, it'll change all the chemicals in your body, changes your respiration, it changes everything. There's just certain things you can do to your own self.
You can.
So, yeah.
There's a person who's she's a psychic healer, and she does work on me, and I can tell at times, she's working in that area because I can feel it. And yeah, they're out there. So
I had an injury in my neck for, oh my God, my whole 22 years from doing gymnastics, and I fell on my head. Ouch. And I damaged my spinal cord, but not enough to paralyze me, but I had a chronic nerve pain, like a burning fire pain. But it knocked me out unconscious 3 times, or rotated, because I was on fire when it happened. And it was bad. And when you have pain from the time you're little, you have it for so long, you just kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
Well, I did a cranial sacral therapy session one time, and it took that pain of 22 years out of my neck in one session. Gone.
And I think that should be normal for us.
It is.
Yeah.
Just don't know.
People they're not going to buy it.
Yeah, you have to. The belief is important. It really is. But I didn't believe in that. When it happened, I didn't know it could happen. So I had no belief in it one way or the other. I literally didn't really. I had this session in school because we had to do different protocols. And that was a result of it. But Wayne, it took me 3 weeks to even realize that I was healed.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, I
didn't
can see
even
that.
know, because all of a sudden I was like,
It
gosh,
doesn't
that
hurt
pain in my
anymore.
neck is not there anymore. I was like, it was that sacral session I had. I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind, because I didn't ask for it to heal. It didn't have any belief in it whatsoever. And it healed me. Oh, at such a deep level. It was profound. Yeah.
You know, one of the things in the religion I used to be in, the one thing I did take from that over all those nearly 50 years was I learned something, and it's so ingrained into me. It's actually a part of my being, is that I know what faith is. And it's because the belief, particular, doctrine that I was looking at. And as I look at it now, I never realized, again, it is actually was taken from the mystics. So faith is the evidence of things not seen,
Yes.
the substance of things hoped for.
Yes.
Now, people don't understand that.
And the other word for me that is the word made flesh.
Yeah, we each see it a little.
That's how you manifest. Like the word made flesh. It's like word forms matter. You literally manifesting with your words. That's why people chant.
It is, and there is actually another one in that same book that says that in this case, and it's the dynamis of the Rhema, is sharper than any two-edged sword, able to set asunder both spirit and soul, bone and marrow. And from those dynamics, we get the word from the Greek called dynamis, where we get our word dynamite from. So
Wow.
it is the dynamis of the Rhema being word. So you get the explosiveness of the word, which is sharper than any two-edged sword, able to set asunder spirit and soul, bone and marrow.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's pulling things out of the
really
past.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. When you understand how they wrote that, it's quite interesting. Speaking of which, let's talk about how things are perceived that aren't really quite right. So, the Lord's Prayer, right?
Yes.
We all, even if you're not a believer or Christian, everyone knows the Lord's Prayer. This is a spell, because I'm going to show you how. Okay, let's read this. It says, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So right there, it looks pretty benign. Yeah, that's the way we should live our lives. But now it gets really interesting. And lead us not into temptation. Mm-hmm. Why would God lead anyone into temptation? But it gets stranger, but deliver us from evil. And it says, for thine is the kingdom, power, and glory. Now, the problem with this is a misinterpretation of this prayer that has been basically, you can say it has been assaulted. One theologian I read, the what is known today as the Lord's Prayer, he said, is pornography.
Wow.
Now, that's a heavy word. Now, why?
That is. Mm-hmm.
So I got this from Deborah. Thank you, Deborah. She sent this to me. And so you can see this reporter went in and says, hey, what happened to my daily bread? Do you know that the church is now wanting to take out this, but lead us not into temptation? The Pope said, as what I just said, why would any God do that?
Right.
So this person went on and says, well, it turns out the original wording and meaning of the Lord's Prayer has been lost in translation. When this reporter learned of this, he rushed out to get to the bottom of it. I found many versions and websites dedicated to this, and you can do the same things. But he says, the person wrote, I plagiarized, quoted the best one I could find below. So I'm typing as much of the original text as I can right now in order to get that pesky hub page duplicator filter turned off. While I've got you here, after reading this hub page, you should really check out the eye-opening material of Neville Goddard. That's what she wrote. So here's what they did. They took the original Aramaic to English, not the Aramaic to Greek to Latin to English. All right, you ready?
Yes.
This is the Lord's Prayer, folks. O cosmic birther, from whom the breath of life comes, who fills all realms of sound, light, and vibration, may your light be experienced in my utmost holiness. Your heavenly domain approaches. That's a little interesting. Let your will come true in the universe, all that vibrates, just as on earth that is material and dense. Give us wisdom, understanding, assistance for our daily need. Detach the fetters of faults that bind us, karma, like we let go the guilt of others. Let us not be lost in superficial things, materialism, common temptations, but let us be freed from what keeps us off from our true purpose. For you come, the all-working will, the lively strength to act, the song that beautifies all and renews itself from age to age. Amen, which really means sealed in trust, faith, and truth. I confirm with my entire being. Amen. So this guy, apparently, if you say these words, record it, and then play it backwards at 78 RPMs, you hear the song of the lyrics of Stairway to Heaven.
Wow.
I don't know if it's true, but as I wrote that, I think the translation is the most beautiful translation. And there's the Aramaic. You can see it right here, folks.
That is the most beautiful Lord's Prayer I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I literally heard while you were reading that this was the homage of the Divine Mother, the goddess, the creator of all, the creatrix. And that's why they changed it, because they turned it to Our Father, so people would never know it was truly about our mother.
And folks, it's coming out what the Romans did, and I think it's going to be a huge shock to about 1 billion plus people when they realize what they have been worshiping. They've been worshiping the Roman gods.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the alien god.
Yes, thank you. All religion is ET based, and I stand on that. Try to prove me differently.
Think of it, all that comes from messengers of God, when you talk about a messenger of God, that could be an alien on a spaceship. They all come from the heavens. It's, it could be channeling, it could be possession.
It's channeling. Yeah.
There's all these different ways they were getting this information, but it's all coming from sources outside of themselves. It's all the same.
See, I used to have it in my knowledge. I could debate it, and, my response will say, well, it is, the Bible says that all scripture is by inspiration of God.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, but it's a man writing it.
Let's do some killing today.
I don't understand this. All right, folks, here's one for you. We were trying, this is, by the way, from our good friend over there in China. And I really do hope that our friend is doing,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Neb, just keep yourself help. So he sent this. And so are y'all already reading this? If you're reading this, then you understand where we are in this. So Trina, you and I did this. I said, couldn't believe that I could actually understand what I was reading using the incredible power of the human mind. According to research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first letter and the last letter be in the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can still read it without a problem. This is because the human mind does not read every word by itself, but the word as a whole. Amazing, isn't it? Huh? Yeah. And I always thought spelling was important. See if you see if your friends can read this too. Oh, Trina, we are such
your friends can read this too. I love that.
I mean,
I bet you most people can read that in this community.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet you so many of their family members and people around them cannot even. They'll be like, what is this?
I don't believe this. They're saying that there is everybody still watching us? I've never seen this. They said there's only 3 people watching us right now.
Oh, let me see. Hold on. I'll see on my phone.
That's it. I don't believe that. YouTube, quit jacking with me. I mean, What the hell is your goal on this? I don't believe that at all. So what are you seeing? Are we still live?
312.
Yeah, you see, that's the problem with these systems. They suck.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, hey, everybody. It just shows that they're just jacking with us,
Yeah. I got 312, it says.
I didn't think it was 30. I mean, that is absurd to think that would be the case. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So aren't we a smart creatures?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are.
Wayne, I think we're really like you said, they're paying attention. So
I know they are.
Yeah.
Someone did a little analysis of our little glitch that we had, when I was doing the show last week. No, on Monday. Mm-hmm. And I knew it. I knew it when I saw what was going on, that he says they're jacking with you.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. But why? I mean, we're not a big channel. We're just small people.
But like I said, truth. The lovers of the truth.
Yeah.
Scaring them.
They are watching, Marguerite says. Yeah, they're watching. All right. Hey, come and join the party. Quit being voyeurs. Only perverts are voyeurs. Oh, wait a minute. Then that means all spirits are perverts. No, let me say. Well, they're all voyeurs, right?
Yeah.
That ought to make you feel real naked when you're getting in the shower. It's like,
and maybe they can't help it though, because walls and doors and they don't. Those boundaries just don't even exist for them. So I wonder that too. Sometimes I'm like, you're in my bathroom, but do you know you're in my bathroom?
Yeah. Do you realize a little space here? Just a little. I don't want much.
Right?
I love this. I mean, hey, yeah, it's I truly ask myself how. I'm convinced of this, Trina. The other side is going to be unlike anything they told us, anything we've read.
Yeah. And Wayne, I keep getting information, and Julianne Payne too. She was talking about how she's been getting information recently about how we've done this before and we're like the planet savers. So we incarnate different systems to help restore balance and put the planet back together.
It needs it.
I'm pretty sure that is accurate.
Brandy says you two be messing with most creators. Yeah. I found out today that Ben Davidson over at Suspicious Observers has got a congresswoman trying to ban his channel.
Wow.
They are forcing YouTube, and I understand the clock is running, any channel that denies the global climate warming
delusion. I heard that.
You're going, and he's been put on notice.
Wow. Yeah. Lisa Haven was saying stuff about that too. It's like if you're not running what they want you to run, and just like they completely control the media. So if they're feeling very threatened by us not complying with their agenda.
As I'm doing the series on the New World Order is God. You're right. They do. And I showed yesterday, they control the media. I don't even think it's 10% anymore.
You
They
know what's the
seem,
funniest part too, when I
what's
think
that?
about all this debt and I think about all this, bad management of money. Well, it's so funny. If it's all private, that's their liability. Has nothing to do with us.
Except your birth certificate.
But
This is
that's
the,
fraud. You don't even, that's not even your name.
listen, I agree.
Yeah, it's not even your name. So you can't, you can't force somebody into use a fraudulent corpse. I
The
mean, really?
last person that tried to bring this to federal court is in federal prison.
I know, because they even the
They,
courts won't comply with real law
yeah,
anymore because they're so into the fake world
they
of,
literally railroaded her right into federal prison.
yeah, they're in maritime. They're not in common law anymore.
That's what she found out. The United
True.
States, folks, all U.S. citizens were under maritime law. Listen, the country went bankrupt in 1889. We have been a bankrupt nation ever since then. And by the Federal Reserve's very existence, it tells you they do not trust neither the politician nor the citizenry.
Yep.
And if that's not
If you
chattel,
want to figure out what your rights are, you need to go look at cemetery law.
they won't allow it in. That's the problem. And if you ever go into a courtroom where they have the gilded flag,
Water
you're
law.
you're you're screwed.
That's what's in the bankruptcy
It's
court.
like you're
Divorce
screwed,
court and
man.
bankruptcy court. Gilded flags.
And I'm going, oh, say what? But yeah, we like that.
We've given all of our power away to some very corrupt individuals that are being, run by some very high, powerful beings.
I'm convinced of it. I know. I keep saying we're going to get into this more and more. They're afraid
They are.
something.
Wayne, we're so powerful. They have,
I
I
think
mean,
we are.
and they know this can't be stopped. It doesn't matter how many YouTubes they shut down. It don't matter. It's not going to matter.
No, no, we'll find another platform. You know,
It,
um,
it won't even matter because I have a feeling something's going to happen with this light thing that's coming in. It's going to affect people. It's like when we have those collective consciousness waves, just like when we got introduced to technology.
mhm.
Now everybody uses technology and it's like part of our world. It's the same thing. I see like this wave coming in where people wake up, literally wake up.
No, I agree with you. They want us. I like unknown blues girl guitar says they want us to be afraid, and we're not.
Yeah.
The thing that I finally, when I faced off against the gods of this world, I brought them. There is this thing of a supreme council. There is, and my charge against them, each one,
Mhm.
is that if they have caused or ordered one drop of human blood to be spilt, there's an indictment against them. And I don't care what you want to tell me that I am this or that and I can't be. No, the fact is that if you kill my species,
Mhm.
then you're guilty of murder, and that's not permissible.
Bottom line is my God is a sovereign God. And my sovereign God teaches me that nobody can rule over me other than me.
And that's just it.
So prove to me that you have rulership over me, because as far as I know, I am my own possession. There is nothing that can rule me but
People ask about, sometimes the visits with Lilith. And I remember distinctly telling her is that I don't worship any spirit.
no.
I don't worship myself. So I would be a betrayer.
No, I was going to say, I kind of do worship myself. Learning to love myself was a great gift. So, loving and honoring and adoring is worship. And I
I
adore
like that. Okay. So I can see
our
it in that
first
term.
business. Yeah, we should be worshiping ourselves.
I guess I'm looking at prostrate,
Yeah, the worship of
laying.
self is the kingdoms to heaven. Because when you
Yeah.
can worship and love yourself, you can love everything else so much more.
Well, we got an active group in here. I mean, I love it when they're engaged. I mean,
But
that's
that's
like,
it. It's like you got to worship the within part, the in part of you, because the inner part of you is part of the universe. I mean, man, it's beautiful. What's within you, the kingdom of heaven is within. So when you really can truly start to honor your own temple and your own being and really connect to what you are as a being, boy, it brings you to new levels of love. And that's powerful.
We've got to get there.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can use some little helps.
Absolutely. I think all these amulets and charms and stuff like
Yeah,
this.
I mean, this is a book, by the way, folks,
They
you can
trigger our
have.
subconscious memory, don't you think, Wayne?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That we
Yeah.
hear that we don't even understand that we're hearing. And it's so deep in its wisdom, but we consciously can't even grab maybe 2% of it.
I agree. I absolutely do agree with that. In fact, I found it so interesting as I got into here. We are a species that have used amulets. By the way, here's a definition. An amulet is a device that the purpose of which is to protect, but by magical and not physical means. A lump of meteorite worn against gunfire is an amulet. A bulletproof vest is not. A charm is something believed to bring good luck, health, and happiness, but protection is not its primary function. And a talisman is something thought to be imbued with some magical property. It can both protect, radiate power, and is often used in rituals.
Yes.
I have them all around me in here, and they do work. Someone said that some guy is out there saying, well, he went into this and he says sigils don't work at all. And I said, okay, fine.
Good. That's probably a good thing, because if you are, that's just don't play with that.
Yeah, I was like, that's as good. Just walk away and
Just
don't look
walk
back.
away. God almighty, just walk away. Yeah.
So
that's how sigils work.
I love that. So do you see this one? This one is the Venus of Willendorf, found in Austria and dates back 30,000 years ago.
That's divine feminine, if I ever saw
Isn't it? Isn't it? Thank you. Thank you.
Goddess right there.
All the amulets that I have been able to discover of before this current patriarchal mindset came in was all the feminine.
There was no masculine even available before the last, once the patriarch started, it's all patriarch. But before that, you can't find one patriarchal symbol. Not one. It was all divine feminine.
And
all of it.
That's as real as it gets. And here's something I didn't know. In 355 AD, the Council of Laodicea decreed that priests and clerks must neither be enchanters, mathematicians, nor astrologers, and they must not make what is called amulets, for these are fetters of the soul, and all who wore them should be cast out of the church. Now, I thought it was real interesting. They did this mathematics. You know why they did mathematics? Is that they knew it was the only way to basically repress intellectual reason and knowledge.
Absolutely.
And they accomplished that.
Absolutely. Anybody that had wisdom of the divine feminine obviously knew how to use spells, knew how to use amulets. There were ones that were creating them. So this is why they were suppressing the divine feminine all the way through. No more connecting to spirit, no more oracles, no more astrology, no more this. All of that was to suppress the divine feminine powers. And not only did they squash them in us, the females, they squashed them in the masculine too.
They did. In fact, folks, modern Christianity was all about repression of women.
Yep.
Listen, what the King James Christianity era brought in, remember, from the time of the Pope through the time of the King James Reformation, women have been vilified. They've done everything to keep you and your kind quiet.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so anyway, this gets into it. By the way, this backs up everything you just said, because in the early time, it was all about the feminine.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm doing in that book I'm reading on my channel. It's called The Divine Sophia, The Return of the Divine Sophia and the Healing of Earth through the Lost Wisdom Teachings of Jesus, Isis, and Mary Magdalene. It is all about our history and how history's been changed. And all of it was about suppressing the divine feminine. because the sexual magic. And then do you know that South Africans, do you know that many of the females back 300,000 years ago, these statues of these divine feminine beings, they were still carrying the androgyny, Wayne. They could create without man. They could create from within themselves. And they could do this through their own sexual magic where they didn't need anybody. And I think that this wisdom was one of the main things they didn't want anybody to ever know that existed, was the androgynous powers that we do possess through our lineage.
I think there's a lot of facts to this. I mean, if you look at it, the whole occult has been demonized. Folks, this is a great book. We'll get back into this. If you want it, let me know. Be more than happy to send it to you. You can really get an education and knowledge of it. But getting back to this point, there was a great effort. Millions of people murdered. What they have done to women. In fact, it takes this merely a cursory study of the Inquisition to realize that what this was the blackest of black magic, and it was all sexual torture against women.
Yep. Then it was all about that, because the power of the divine feminine is the power to hear from God. You know, all of the Delphi oracles were all women.
Yeah, they were.
The power of the female, and they needed to squash it, because when you can use your intuition and your higher mind and open your third eye, it doesn't matter what they tell you. When you see things for yourself, you have truth and you have awareness, and they can't take that from you. And that's what they do not want you to have. They don't want you to see and have vision, because they want to tell you the vision so you'll run their program. You see,
tell the vision.
Yeah, and if you see your vision, which is collective consciousness, because our visions are all primarily the same. We came here for the same reasons. So with that, when you connect back into that, which is kind of what we were talking about in the first place, what is the soul's purpose?
What is your soul's goal?
I've been told since I was a little kid by the Lord, he always told me three things over and over again. You came here to graduate, which meant we were going to activate a new frequency of energy and enlighten the human species as a collective whole, as the Christ. I came here to be like Jesus, which would be a group of millions and millions of people. And we would start to act like Christ, heal, walk on water, raise the dead. Greater things ye shall do than I. So we will do greater than the Christs and the masters that have walked on the planet before. We came here to do something that was never done before. And then
go ahead.
The last thing that he told me was, you come here to be like Jesus, meaning the healing work and the ascension, that we would bring the new light codes into the planet and seed them through our bodies. Oh, and we would be the antennas. That was the third thing. We are the antennas.
Yeah, you see, and I think the problem is in this modern vernacular today, when you say Jesus, for me, the indoctrination is that I immediately tie that to the rat bastard that is the Jewish God.
Too, because the Jesus I know, dude, you want to hang out with him.
Well, you see, that's the problem, though.
He is awesome.
Yeah, but the problem is that for myself, I'm constricted in that because I don't believe in human sacrifice. I don't believe
I've seen the dead guy on the stick thing for me. That's a different person. It's like they don't match in my brain. The dead guy on the stick, that's satanic crap. That
you see, and that's the problem. The world, and I did a whole series on it, folks, called Breaking the God Spell. They took the message of whatever was here.
And that was his message, Wayne, sovereignty and the divine feminine. And they killed him.
And they made him a Jew.
Yes.
Listen, I'm reading a book right now written in 1914 that was by a Russian general who is apparently, they call him the political prophet.
Mm.
And I'm reading in there right now where he said the intent was to contaminate the Savior's message, not to save your soul, but to save the planet, the humanities. And he says that it was contaminated to be one of, when you put Jewish
It
there,
turned him into the savior.
yeah.
And it took away the best way that I could explain, because I have memories of walking with this master that they called Yosef or whatever, but his name was not Jesus. You're right. His name was not Jesus.
No, it
But
wasn't.
I have memories of this time. And the thing was, is the closest I could say to what was going on at that time was there was a lot of fear because we were teaching things that had to be taught underground. We were being killed for these teachings, and what we were doing, we were trying to teach the essence of the divine feminine. We were bringing back the power of the female, and they weren't having it. They weren't having it. And he was also teaching, don't pay taxes, it was sovereignty.
And I would agree with that.
And the sovereignty, that was what pissed off the Pharisees because of the taxing. That's why he flipped over the money table changers. This was about sovereignty and ancient healing, which is all divine feminine.
Well, maybe the real story will come out. I don't know if the guy was, fulfilling a destiny.
He was a normal guy, though, Wayne. He was just a normal person.
I've read the books. And someone said, not in his image. I've read that book, and I understand the Gnostics. I get it.
But it wasn't even all of that wasn't right either, from what I can perceive with my recollection. But like I said, we all hold different perspectives. So if your belief system was completely against that, you would still perceive that as a different perception that I have. Like, even if we were walking with these people at a different time, we are all going to have a different perspective of how it happened.
Yes, we are. I agree.
Like now. Depends on what team you're on. Because right now, like if you're Islam, this conversation wouldn't work for you. Like lots of conversations we have wouldn't work for you. It's about what you believe. What team were you on when you went through these experiences? How was it trained in your brain to perceive it? So there's so many perspectives, and I think so many are probably right.
Well, I've contended this. If there's ever a time in our lineage, our history, as a species, we need, and I don't think it's going to come unless it comes from us, that message of hope.
Yes.
And John Lennon said it best, I don't believe in religions. I don't believe in gods, but what I do believe is in me.
Yes.
Now, and that's what they teach against, Trina. They teach you, because you're nothing but a dirty sinner. You can't rise above.
Right. And just think about it. Like when you say, I don't worship myself, because we're taught that that's bad.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, well, Steiger, you do. And I'm going, I do, because you know what? I'm in love with me. I mean,
yes.
The
greatest gift you can give to the planet is to love yourself.
All right. So here it is on, worldwide going around. Yes. Our Wayne Steiger worships himself. That means that I'm a god.
Yes.
But why not?
Wasn't it said? Did you not say that ye are gods?
It says that.
This was obviously written about a long time ago that we were gods.
Over and over and over again, it says that.
Wait, how could it be anything different? Because cats give birth to cats, dogs have dogs, gods. We're little gods.
I think we are. I really do.
It has to be.
That's what they've stole from us, Trina. That's what they have stole from us, is the core consciousness that instead of creating this chaos, because they have teledivision to us of chaos, they do not want us together. Someone said that, there are channels, and I know there's Rex out there that do these collective points. But my point yesterday was there's something different when we come together.
Yes, it's powerful. And Wayne, I'm telling you, I see everything is backwards. We're taught to be scared of the darkness, which is literally going to be the return to heaven, the cosmic womb, the mother. You're taught to go into the light, which is a freaking program to suck you into the soul recycling matrix. Everything is so backwards. And I'm like, oh my God, this
seeing us walk through the light, you know, and the next thing you know, they got a freaking straw in our head, you know, and I'm going,
Right, they're taking all your memory.
it's like,
Hey, give me that.
I said, man, get off of my cloud, man.
Oh, totally. And they even call it the cloud.
Oh, you're bumming me out, dude.
Oh, Wayne, you know, there is this power though when we come together, and this awareness and this
Yes.
understanding that when we do die, we need to look around and see what's going on and follow your heart, follow your guidance. And
Oh man, I've always had this vision. And you can ask Lynn. I really do see a time of really coming together. I mean, I think that if we could do this in one city.
you know what I was seeing, Wayne?
What's that?
Like, okay, like say, like a group of us, like Brian, you, Queen of Courts, just whoever can come, get a small gathering of us together and record it and do a collective healing and meditation and ceremony and intention and do that together, because I keep seeing it only needs to be a few of us to come together, and then we can broadcast it and it'll go through the world.
It's very interesting as you were just talking. So again, coming out from my past, we used to gather in groups. We called them prayer groups. And what we would do, and sometimes there was as many as 100 people in these. I belonged to some pretty big mega churches back in the days. But anyway, we would literally hold hands, form a circle, and start speaking in tongues.
Yes.
Can you not hear the voice within? Do you not know that within you there is already a voice? That's the interpretation. Now, we used to do this in small groups, large groups, and amazing. Well, a lot of times it was called interpretation of tongues. A lot of times prophecies were spoken forth. And my point to all this is those were techniques to connect to the ether. We were just taught in the vein that it was of a certain religious context. My thing is I'd like to teach people, you see, I'm not a Christian.
Well, see, Wayne, I was taught to do the same exact thing, but as a spiritual healer, and I was taught to set my fulcrums.
Well, and so what I'm trying to say here, folks, I'm not a Christian. I don't worship the gods of this world, but tell me why I can still speak in tongues.
Right, because it's part of your connection to God.
Exactly.
Right, the source fabric of all that is, we have it within us.
I can interpret as well. So is this just a unique set for a particular sect that happens to believe it? It doesn't happen unless you believe.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's power in that though, Trina.
I think you've always been like your love of truth and your seeking to learn. I think that's part of who you are. I think it's part of who I am. And so, you know, I think that might be something that you mastered in a past lifetime. And now, no matter what, you can always have access to it again. As soon as you remember, it's game over, you know.
Yeah. And that's, I've done battle with some really bad golems out there. And when I start speaking in tongues, I've
Like
literally seen them just evaporate.
Muriatic acid.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the power of the word. Yeah. The power of your mind and your mouth and your heart working as one. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can't handle that.
Someone says, how do I speak in tongues? Well,
I don't think everybody needs to speak in tongues. Like I said, I think that's a gift. Certain people have mastered it, and it's an ancient language. And some people just have that in them, and probably all of us do if we could find out exactly where in the brain it was hiding. But
it's a natural language to me. I've had it for almost 40 years now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All of us have different treasures. Yeah. So think of, like, if you're drawn to that, like, how do you learn how to do that? That might be your gift. Follow your gut. But we all have different traits. And the healing that I did, we didn't do with, we did mainly with science. It was silence and focus.
Yeah. Yeah.
energy and just sending energy through our hands and our hearts. And I would connect to the earth and the sky in my heart and literally create a field, a Torah field.
When
Blast
Lynn
my
and I
face.
first got started dating, I laid hands on her and speaking in tongues over her and, healed her. She was immediately healed. And she looked at me and she said, "Where did you get the hands of fire from?" Because, it's very intense. But in any case, yeah. People are really excited about what's going on here. Folks, it's
Right on. We are so powerful, guys. It's so beautiful because we really are. We are these, oh man, Master Saint Germain told me a few weeks ago when I had that lovely meeting with them, he said if we truly understood our power, we would literally drop to our knees in gratitude in worship of our own greatness because it would freak you out. You can't comprehend it. He said it is so big, can't comprehend it. He laughs. He's like, you guys are starting to learn your power. He's like, but you just still don't get it.
And in my head,
that is really good news.
and I got this song back in the 70s, I've got the power.
Yeah, I got the power. Yeah.
That's what we're talking about now.
Full on. Yes. Oh God.
Oh, it's
when we hug each other and just love each other and support each other. Oh man, that's how you can watch people walk on fire. Not even singed. They're bulletproof and 10 feet tall. And that's what we're going to do for each other. I've seen this happen over and over again. So I know I'm going to make that vision a reality.
Well, I still see a gathering. I absolutely do. I'm just telling you.
That's how I saw it happen, Wayne. I knew I would never do this on my own. It would be with my family. You guys.
I think we're going to do it. Yeah. And we are family. You and I. That's what I'm talking about now,
We are all sisters. We all come from the feminine first.
Absolutely. And when you get in certain groups, that's when you start dancing. And I'll tell you, that's when vibrations and, the spirit comes alive.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
They love to dance. The spirit loves to dance.
They do. They do. And if you're depressed, if you're feeling depressed, start dancing. I whistle. And then my wife will tell you, I always got a song and I'll be out there, and hey, I'll just say it. John Travolta took all the limelight, but I was definitely second to John. I taught him some of the moves.
Absolutely.
Actually, I was ahead of John Travolta, but nevertheless.
And it's so powerful too, because you can use music to use the opening of your different energy.
You can heal.
Yeah, and you can literally use like deep bass to help ground you. And you can use like harp music if you want to open the third eye. These are frequencies, and these frequencies unlock and they activate different energy centers in the body. So you can find music and sound to specifically address what you want to work on, and you can integrate that with sound and fix your vibration and fix that chakra through those different sounds.
I am, looking on the time. There is, okay, here it is. Let me just show you what you were just talking about, singing. And we're going to give you some magic here that will make you triumphant. So charms have been used around the world for luck, avoidance of evil, and for prosperity. Many charms take on the forms of amulets to be worn or carried about. Others are written, spoken, or sung. Luck noted magical spells were often sung or chanted, and it was thought that the music in itself, a kind of magic, a telex, added to the power of the works and the acts. The Latin word carmen means song and spell. The English words charming and enchanting still reflect these ancient beliefs.
Wow.
Folks, you've learned something here. If we could start incorporating these truths, the archons will will sour the milk.
It won't matter because I hate to say it, but I think our power is just stronger. It
is. And I can see this. we'll get together in a large group. I see it, and I can see it going
Yes.
around. Everybody start to see it. Yes.
Yes, I love you. This is our power.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is our power. It's that crossing that we have that comes out of our heart, and it produces love. That love is stronger than any other vibration on this planet.
Wow, here's Brian. I haven't seen Brian in a while. Hello, Milky Way Messengers. How you doing? I hope y'all go over to his channel and go over to Trina's. And Trina, we need to get you to go live more, girl. That's all I got to
I'm
say.
working on it. It's
Okay.
about time too, Wayne. I've been so busy. It's season and work, and I didn't get home last night till 9 o'clock at night.
So I just want to let everyone know, if you're looking to get a new computer, you can actually go on to Amazon, and HP has a pretty powerful computer for less than $400.
Oh, right on.
And got my wife one. And I'm just telling you, I've looked at them. It's fabulous. Brian, I know you have been saving up for it. Check it out. There are some pretty good deals right now. So there you go.
Right on. Yeah, I've been looking at that too. I'm like one thing at a time. I just
No.
Right now I'm in the process of trying to upload the channel. So I'm
and I'll just be telling you, I completely distaste. I don't like this thing about on the new cell phones. The Apple 11. Are you telling me $1,800?
Yeah, I don't use Apple.
I mean, folks, my first car didn't cost $1,800. Even the Samsung and the rest of them. I mean, this is nuts.
Nuts.
It's nuts. I mean, I want to go back to the landline. I had a Princess line. Remember that? It's out the Bell series, and then I had the kitchen type that had the 20-foot cord, where you could. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wayne, we just had our family cabin burned down.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, we still had the Bell original rotary phones up there. We had to teach all of our children how to use it. We were telling them to call us on our cell phones. They couldn't figure it out to save their life. We were laughing so hard. Like, you guys think you're so smart. You can't even operate a rotary phone. Oh, we were laughing. It was great fun. But yeah, we used to have, before the cabin burnt down, we had all those old phones and landline, and I miss it.
I miss it too.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Trina, another hour has come and gone, my dear. Thank you. Yeah. And folks, thank you all. See you tomorrow at the same time. Trina, take us out.
Oh, remember, guys, that spark inside of us, it's so powerful, and it's part of the universal creation. And that creation power, that is our greatest gift. And the strongest creations come from those that are positive in vibration, like love, gratitude. So if ever you're feeling funky, first thing to do is just start saying thank you, as down to the eyes that give you vision to see, and your breath. There's so many things that are simple that will help you bring you back into your center. And when you're in your center, you go into still point, and the still point is where you get to see God.
I love that. So get that funky monkey off you.
Yeah, start dancing.
Get that monkey off. All right, folks. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you for watching. And Miss Trina, I'll see you next week. Thank you, Brian. Good to see you, brother. Much love to you and all the rest of y'all. Big Al, drive safe. Susie Q, thank you. Boy, all the rest of you. David Barry and, all the bunch of you. Brandon, all y'all, you know where we're at. We appreciate you. All right. Y'all be good, and we'll see you in a little bit.